learned how to stack the person. We just learned how to pull the hips up to you. So now you basically know how to take the vacuum barrel pull-up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to chain these things together. Now, I think that that's the most important thing after learning these positions is chaining things. Because in the top competition, people are going to keep giving you different reactions, different looks to the positions, and we're going to have to figure out how to combine these and make them into two worlds. Just like I said, in Jiu-Jitsu, everything is two worlds. And this, when we're going for the back, the world of stacking and the world of pulling the hips up, they work against, like they're against each other. You do one, the person gives you the other. So I'm always thinking in my mind, okay, I'm going to do this one, so the person gives me the other. So that's always my mindset when I'm doing this position. And I'm already thinking in my mind, when I do this and the person gives me the other, I'm thinking, okay, now I'm in this world, pulling the hips on top of me. And then I'm in my series there. Or I'm trying to pull them on top of me, and they give me the other one. Okay, stack. And then I'm thinking of all my stuff there. So that's what I'm thinking when I'm doing this. I'm setting it up, and then I'm going in my mind to that file cabinet of that world. And I think that's so important when we're doing this position.
I have a question about the chaining.
Yeah.
So the first move you do, should you do a move that's like your favorite, like move that you're better at, or should you do the move that you're not as good at to try to get the reaction that you want for the move that you're good at?
I would prefer what you just said. If I think that you could master both. But if I'm wanting to do one or the other, I would do the one I wouldn't want to do just to make them give me the other one.
Okay.
I think that that's easier sometimes. I do that a lot. So what I'm going to explain now is when I'm here now, something I also want to explain. So if you guys notice, when I showed you the pulling the person on top of you, it was always a middle or far hip grip. Why is that? Because when I have this far hip, I'm able to stack my opponent, right? But I can't pull the spine on top of me because my elbow cannot go to the middle of her back. Okay? So when I go on this here, and I have this near hip grip, I can stack my person here. But I can't place my elbow on her back unless I move my grip from the near hip to here. And that's why I love the drawstring, because I'm able to move my hand down her body. So now let's say this. I'm going to stack the person, and now she's going to put weight on her legs. You see, it's hard for me to stack her now. So now look what I'm going to do. I'm going to control the far hip. I'm going to move my hand to the middle of her body. Now look at my elbow. Right in the middle. Just because I moved my grip. So I felt the weight go to her legs. But why did her weight go to her legs? She brought her weight to her legs to defend the stack. So I was here. I start going to stack her. She puts her weight on her legs. Now I can't bring her foot to the floor, right? And if I want to stomp to the floor here, I can't pull her up because my grip is on the near hip. My elbow needs to be on the far hip. My elbow has to be in the middle of her spine. So if I get here and I can't bring her up, all I'm going to do is I'm going to just move my hand to the middle of her body. Now look where I am. Now I'm in the pull-up world where I can pull her up. Stepping on the floor, here, stepping here, bringing my hips up. Now she's here. Now I can connect to any of my upper body control that we did before. Then I can take the back.
What grip are you using on the back? I can't see. Is it like this? Or
It's the near hip grip, and then I'm moving my hand right to the middle of
No, but are you using your knuckles or using this part?
Always palm.
Oh, palm up. Okay.
I feel like if I'm using fingers, I could hurt my wrist, but this, there's zero because it's...
So it's one of the palms?
Yes. It's like holding a tray, like... We're here, and I go to stack. You see, now her leg is heavy, so I move my hand to the middle of her body here. Now I step. Now look where I am. Because she made her weight on her legs, I'm able to do this. I step, I put pressure forward, I turn, and now I pull her up. I get my upper body control. Now she can't fall, and now I can take it back. Okay. So I go to stack, she puts weight on her leg. You see, I can't bring her leg up. All I do is adjust. Now I'm here, I pull up, I go here. I put my hook in here. Once my hook is in, I can stretch her, just like the basic firm bowl. Here. introduction, I showed you guys when I go to stack the person and then they put their weight on their legs. Now I'm going to show you the opposite. I'm going to try to pull the person on top of me with our series of pulling the person on top of me. Then she's going to put her weight on her shoulders. So when she puts her weight on her shoulders, there's no more weight on her legs. So now I can't pull her on top of me, right? Because all her weight's on her shoulders. But what does that mean when she puts her weight on her shoulders? Now we're in the stack family of bear and bull. So we're going to be here. I'm going to go under. I'm going to get here. And I'm going to want to pull her weight on top of me like this. But I'm going to feel that her weight's on her shoulders now. So now look, because her weight's on her shoulders, I have my elbow in the middle of her spine. Now I can't pull her on top of me because the weight's not on her legs anymore to pull her on top of me. So all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to place my elbow on the near hip again, just like before. I can move my hand even to the near hip if I prefer, or I can keep my elbow just like this. Now I push her hip up, and look where we are. We're in the stack world now. Now we do our initial variation of the stack. I pull her to me, like so, or I go on top of her. If I'm stacking her here, and I try to pull her, and she stays up, I go up. If I try to come up, and she pushes into me, I pull her into me, and I take the back. Again, I want you to see how simple this is when it's broken down like this. People have trouble with the berimbolo because they'll just try pulling the person on top of them, and they'll feel, wow, they feel really heavy. It's because you're forcing the wrong type of berimbolo. If you know both of these, the person will never feel heavy because you'll always be pushing them or pulling them into the right area. So we're here. I go under. I'm here. I'm stomping. I'm trying to pull her. Why can't I pull her? Am I weak? No, I'm not weak. It's because I am weak, but it's because her weight's on her shoulders. Okay? That's why when I'm doing this, it's not moving, because if her weight's on her shoulders, there's no weight on her legs for me to bring her up. But because her weight's on her shoulders, I can stack her simply by moving my elbow to the near hip again. Anytime I want to stack, all we have to do is simply address the near hip. Every time we want to pull up, we go to the middle of the spine. Now, because her weight's on her shoulders, I move my elbow to the near hip. Now I can stack her again, bringing her foot to the floor. Now we're back into this world. So, 1, 2. Okay. I just simply move my gear. And again, because we're on the drawstring, I can move my hand whatever I want if I want the extra support. Here. Now I'm in the stop. 1. I try to pull, she goes up. 2. Times faster. Okay guys, so now that I explained the mechanisms of chaining together the stack versus the pulling the person on top of you, I'm going to introduce a new leg position for you guys. And this is called the twister hook. Now, the beauty of the twister hook is it is the middle ground of both. So we're using both to do the twister. We stack the person, and that's how we can apply the twister. But then, when we finish the twister, we use our elbow in the middle of the hip and do the pulling in method. And we set up the twister hook doing both of the things I just showed you. So I'm stacking, then they defend one, I do the other. And that's why the twist hook is like the middle ground. So I'll show you now. So I'm here. I'll be here. I'll be trying to pull her on top of me. Her weight's on her shoulders. I can't lift her. So now I move my elbow like this, like the stack. And then she's backing up more. Now I apply the twist to her. Now I'm going to do the other one. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be stacking her. She's going to put her weight on her legs. So now she's heavy. So I start lifting up. Now I push her up here again. I apply the twister hook. You see, so this twister hook is a middle ground when the person's fighting me, giving me the opposite reaction. And that's how I'm able to use it. So when I'm stacking her, and she starts putting weight on her legs, instead of trying to lift here, now I can keep my elbow in this spot, get to the twister hook. You see, so every time I set up the twister hook, I like to set it up when I'm lifting her near hip. Even when she puts weight on her legs to defend the stack, because her near hip is up, you see how I can put the twister hook in? If I was on the middle of her back and her near hip is down, it's harder for me to put in the twister hook, you see, because her hip is on the floor. So I like to set it up always with the near hip, and it gives me a setup no matter where I am. So even if I'm going to stack her and she's heavy, so she puts her weight on her legs, her hip is still up right now, you see, because my elbow is under her hip. So let's say I have the middle hip grip and I still have the elbow like this. Even though her hip is up, even though she's putting weight on her legs, my elbow is still under this hip. So I have a spot to put my leg in. Now, what is twister hook? Twister hook is when I hook my foot behind her leg like this. I could use my shin to help me apply this, but I just want you guys to understand what I'm doing with my leg. So when I'm on the back and I have a hook in, you see how my foot is already here on the back? When I put the twister hook in, it's like I'm putting in my hook, but I have pressure on her knee like this and her hip to help me move her body to finish this position. But if you see, if my elbow is not under her near hip and her body's down, just stretch your leg a little bit, it will be difficult for me to set up the twister hook. Like, make your leg like more firm, yeah. But when her hip is up, now it's easy because her hip is up for me to set up the twister hook. Okay, so I'm going to be here. I go under, and I'm trying to lift. I can't lift. I go to the near hip. I'm trying to stack. She's backing up. But now, look, because I have her near hip up, I'm trying to stack her. She's putting weight on her legs. So she's putting weight on her legs. So now I go twister. Now I got my elbow back here. I'm going to explain to you guys how to finish the twister in a second, but I just want you guys to understand and see how we're able to set up the twister in this middle ground of her putting her weight on her legs versus stack. And basically, it's always me getting under this near hip again. Once this near hip is elevated, I have space to put my leg. Every time the near hip is not elevated, it will be a lot more difficult for me. Yeah, this is what I mean. This will be hard because you see how her hip isn't elevated? But the second I elevate her near hip, look, now look how easy it is for me to do this.
It's crazy. Even when I straighten my leg, you could still...
I can still do it because your hip is up. Yeah. It all has to do with her near hip being up. And that's why I'm showing you the twister hook now and not before. Because I really want you to understand how I'm controlling the hips and how I'm taking the back. And now you'll really understand how to do twister hook. Because her hip is up now, I can do it. If it's like this and she straightens her leg and her leg even goes here, I can't apply the twister hook. You see, I have to use a lot of strength. So let me show them that again. I try to lift. I can't. I go here. I try to stack. I can't. I go here. Again. As long as I get my elbow under her body, her hip is elevated, I can apply the twister. No problem. Again. Just the same angle so you get different angles. So let me move back in here. I'm going to stack you. Put weight on your legs. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show you one more setup to get to the twister hook I actually used this one in Worlds last year in my quarterfinal match. And basically it's the same concept, but we're going to do it from basic berimbolo. And you're going to see how easy it is to set up twister now from everywhere. Okay? I didn't want to show you it first so you understood how to use the hips, but because if you started using twister, you would just want to do this. But all the other ones are so good, I just want you guys to see how we can do twister from everywhere. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the basic berimbolo from the beginning. What is the basic berimbolo? Let's think about it. What is her reaction that she has to give me? Her reaction has to be this arm posted and her weight on her forward hip. That is the rule for basic berimbolo. But now, what's going to happen is I'm going to go, I kill the hook, I have the near hip, I go under. Like basic berimbolo. I start lifting her up. And then what's going to happen is I lose connection to her shoulders. So she falls down here. You see? So now look, what can I do right now? I have control of her near hip. So I could possibly stack her, but she's moving back as well. So now I have the perfect angle to attack the twister. My elbow is under her hip, and now look how her leg is up. Now I can put my hook in and attack the twister here. Again, I have a lot of details for finishing it. I just want you first to see how to get to the twister, and then we're going to go over the finish. So we're here. I'm here. I can have the middle hip grip, far hip grip, doesn't matter. I just have to catch behind her near hip once I decide that I can't do the basic berimbolo. So now I'm going to do middle far hip series with the same exact thing. Here, she's going here, she bases, I'm lifting. I start going basic berimbolo, yes. My elbow's on this part of her back, right? So now all I'm going to do is this. Move my elbow to the near hip. Now look where I am. Here. I can even step up if I want to bring her hip up a little bit to stack, but it's not necessary. Once her hip is up, I just have to angle my hip in a way that I can connect my foot behind her leg like so.
Do you have to readjust if I strain my leg?
If you strain your leg, I just stack you a little more. You see now how it gives me space to go here? Because you are in a stack. And then if I feel like you're backing up too much, I could do this one again. If your weight goes to your legs. If your weight's not on your legs and you back up, I could stack you. You see how easy it is to stack? And now you're backing up, now you're putting weight on your legs a little bit.
So you use the same concepts from the other thing, but you're just putting in the twister.
Exactly. That's why the twister is so good to show now, because it's the middle ground of both.
Okay.
So we go basic berimbolo. We go basic berimbolo. I go here. She starts falling. My elbow near her hip. Now look. Here. Basic berimbolo, middle far hip. You see I have the middle far hip. Now she falls. Elbow here. Now look. I stack. Now I can go twist her.
Where are you placing your foot after I fall?
Where am I placing what foot? This foot? Okay, so she falls. I'm stepping on the floor like this. And all I'm doing here is putting pressure on her hip to keep her hip up. You see how my knee is also keeping her hip up? Because her thigh is on my leg, like so. So once my elbow is like this, and she puts weight on her shoulders, I start to stack, and then I bring my thigh on her leg like this. So now she's sitting on my lap. You see this leg is sitting on top of her hip, and I'm putting pressure on her hip like this. Now it's easier for me to do this, because her hip is on top of me. Her near hip, which we need on top of me for me to do the twister hook.
So you're bringing my hip on top of your hip?
Yes.
Okay.
But now look, once I have the elbow here, it's even easier because look how much more elevated your body is. Now I can go here. And I'm going to show the finishes after, but let me just keep showing the setup. I'm going to do it with the collar. Just so I want to give you guys every grip. So we go here, we go basic berimbolo, she falls. Look, the near hip is up. So all I have to do here, I go to the far hip like this, I start trying to stack. She comes into me a little bit. Twist the hook. Now I'm going to mix them up, and I'm going to show you guys in real speed. But I just want to explain one more time, when I lift and she falls, how I bring my knee, this knee, on her hip like this. This is keeping her near hip up with my arm. So this and this both keep her near hip up. And because her near hip is up, look how easy it is for me to put the twister hook in. If it wasn't up, like bring your leg straight and bring it up. Yeah, look how hard it would be. This is what happens, and this is why a lot of people have trouble with twister hook. Everyone I notice that tries this is what happens to them. Why is that? Because the near hip isn't up. and I don't have my hip under her. Now do what you just did. It's too easy for me because I have her near hip up. So let me show you again. Okay guys, so now I'm going to explain to you the finishing mechanisms to the twister hook, and there's some key concepts I need you guys to focus on when you're doing the twister hook, okay? So I just gave you guys the concept of how to get to the twister hook, but now I'm going to explain to you how to keep the twister hook and how to finish, okay? So we're going to be here, and I'm going to keep varying my my setups to twister just so you guys keep seeing the ones that I showed before, okay? So I'll go under here, I'm going to have the near hip. Right now we'll do the near hip family. But we could do the other two families, no problem. I go under. I go basic berimbolo. She falls. I get here. Again, controlling the near hip. Let's just change the angle this way, because I want to explain to you. Yeah. Controlling the near hip. Now, you see how her leg is up. My knee is here. There's no way she can drop her leg right now. You see? So now, all I'm going to do is I place my foot behind her shin, like this. Like a hook. I'm going to put my leg in. I'm going to put my foot in. Now, something I want to explain is if the person straightens their leg here and they're strong, it might be hard for me to keep my foot in. So a detail I like to show people, if they're having trouble keeping the foot in, I put my knee on her leg like this. I bring my knee in. Now I lock a triangle behind my knee. Now I can replace the triangle over my knee to back to her leg. But you see, I just have to bend her leg in. So when she straightens, and I feel like it's hard, I just bring my knee here, and now I bring her foot up. To flex in her leg, just like before in De La Riva, you see how Jiu-Jitsu combines everywhere. When she flexes her leg strong here, it's because the dorsiflex in her foot. The second I bring her foot up like this, so my heel is here, keep your foot flat, yeah. I put my foot like this. The second I bend her foot with this and this, now look how her leg bends. It's exactly the same thing as before. Now I bring my knee in, I lock a triangle, and now look how her knee is bent. Touch your foot now. You see, it doesn't matter because I already bent her knee. She lost her strength to straighten her leg now. Okay, so we're here, and she's straightening her leg. All I'm going to do is put the side of my foot on her leg like so. I go to her toes. I bend her leg like this. Just like De La Riva before. That's how you're going to see it now. You're going to start seeing these spots everywhere, how they apply everywhere, these concepts. So, side of my foot, I bend her toes. Now I put my foot in. I feel like I need the extra support. I go behind my knee. Now I can bend her leg, really. You see how I can bend her leg? I can even go on her toes more, just to make her leg weaker. Now I put my foot in, and I'm here. So again, she straightens her leg. I hammer. I go to her toes. Now I lock the triangle. I put my foot in. You see how much pressure now I have on her knee. And now I can keep this spot. Again, she straightens her leg. I'm here. I'm here. I can't bend. I put the side of my foot. I go to her toes. I go to her toes like so. I bend. Now look how I can bend her toe. Now I can put my foot in on her knee.
So you're putting like this. What part of the foot are you touching?
The toes. So you're flexing your foot. Straighten your leg. Yeah. I go to the side of my foot on your leg. You see? So keep your leg straight. You see, I can't put it in, but I can put the side of my foot on your leg every time, right? Yeah. Now I can go on your toes like this.
Oh, you're going on my
And now look how I can bend your leg because I bend your toes. It's a De La Riva one.
Oh, okay.
So you see how I can bend like this. Now I can put the foot behind your knee. I can hook. And now I'm here. Again, straighten your leg. Straighten your leg. Yeah. So you see, even no matter how straight her leg is, I can always get this part of my foot on her leg, no problem. Now, if I can, all I need to get is this part of my leg, no problem. I can bend her foot. Keep her foot flexed. So all I flex like this. Yeah. Now I force plantar flexion in her foot again. Now I can bend her leg with the side of my foot here. Lock the triangle on my knee like this. You see how I use this? Now I can bend her foot more. Now I put my foot in and I'm in this spot. Again, I'm going to show the setup to this side. Yeah. So this time I'm going to go, just lay down.
Okay.
Try to lift. I can't. I stack. You back up a little bit. I go twister. Now your foot's too strong. I couldn't get in, you see? But I had the near hip. So now all I'm going to do is side foot, triangle, hook. I'm in the spot. You see how it just shuts off your leg?
Yeah, I feel like it's crazy. As hard as I'm going here, I feel like it just shuts it off.
Yeah, because we're just shutting off the toes, and we're
do it
forced.
one more time.
Yes. So here, I go here, straighten your leg, strong. Yes. So here, side foot. That's all I'm thinking about. Toes.
That's a crazy detail.
Now I lock the triangle. Now I'm bending her leg. Now I put my foot in. Again, here, straighten your leg. Yes. This could even be a good drill for you guys to practice. Just practicing my leg positioning, you see. And you see this time I had the middle hip and I just brought my elbow under. It doesn't matter. There's no problem. So here, straighten your leg. Yes. You can even have the person straighten their leg as strong as they want. I can always bend her leg. You see? I can always bend her leg.
Let's do this. Okay.
Here, I straighten her foot. You see, because the second I shut off her toes like this, now look how her leg bends. She can't keep her leg straightened when I do this. Now I can lock the triangle and put my foot in. Again, other angle. Here, I go twist her. Boom. Now that I explained to you how to keep the twister, I'm going to show you how to place the next goal of twister. Now, my goal in twister always is to place my opponent's knee on the floor. I'm going to explain why now, but basically, do you see how we keep building on everything? I'm showing you literally every detail possible that there is zero guessing on your part. Okay, so I really want you guys to understand every detail. And I feel like in jiu-jitsu, this is always so important. You know, we don't skip any details. We have to know everything and why we're doing everything. And that's why I'm doing it how I'm doing it. Okay? So I showed you how to set up the twister. Now we're going to learn the next step of this series. So here, I'm going to go under. Now post her arm so I can show you that one. I'm doing basic parabolo. I lift up, she falls. Again, I'm going twister. She's backing up. I have the near hip. Near hip means I have her hip elevated. I can apply the twister. Her leg is straightening because she's testing me. She's challenging me. Here, I bend her knee like so. Now I put in the twister here. Okay. So my next goal. I think this is perfect, dude. My next goal with the twister hook is all I need to do now is I either hip escape or I can step on the floor. Either or is no problem. I have to place her knee on the mat.
Which one do you do then?
I do both. I really don't think it matters. I think the most important thing is just understanding this knee being on the floor. If I don't put this knee on the floor, she could possibly reverse this on me because she has the same hook as me. So the battle in twister hook is whoever has their knee on the floor wins the battle because I have full control of her hips now. You see how I can connect my hips to her hips now? When her hip is up like this, how can I connect my hips to her hips here? You see? So I need to connect my hips to her hips. How do I do that? I put her knee to the floor. Now I can connect my hips to her hips. But it's so important. So she straightens her leg. I put my foot on the side of her leg. I bend her leg like so. Now I lock the triangle. Now I can move my hip. I can even put my foot on the leg like this to move my hip to bring her knee down. Or I can step on the floor to move my hip down.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you're bringing my knee down. Are you focused on bringing your knee down as well? Is that the direction you're going, or just you're focused on my knee?
I'm just focused on your knee. I don't care where my knee is. It could be on the floor like this. It could be straightened. I just need your knee on the floor. Because now my hip is closer to you. So we're here. I step on the floor. I push. I put her knee to the floor. We set it up again. Here, I go here. I set the twister, she's defending. I bend, so you see the side of my foot goes on her leg, And as I bend, you see how my foot can move more and more. I lock the triangle, I go here. I step on the floor, her knee goes to the mat. And now I can start connecting my hips. And we're going to go over that, but I just want to show you literally every detail possible to getting to the back. So we just have to place her knee on the floor. If I don't,
So I feel like with this arm, you're kind of pushing me down. Is that just your knee, or are you also doing something with this arm?
I'm still stacking you a little bit with the near hip.
Yeah, I do feel
Because I'm still on the near hip. You can't, I'm able to keep your hip elevated. That's why it's helping me get you down to the mat with the near hip grip. Okay, so we're here, and notice again, if I keep her if I keep her leg up, she can step on the floor herself, and now she can take my back with the twister. Okay, so I need to focus on my hip positioning to accomplish the back from here. One more time. Here, back of the body, twist her. She straightens her leg. I go here, I bend. I'm here. I step on the floor. I put her knee to the floor. Now I can connect my hip. Again, here, step on the floor. I start going here, straighten your leg. I bend. I put the hook in. I put your knee on the floor. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show you guys a drill that I like to do that will reinforce the concept of knee to the mat. So I'm going to start with my partner, and we're both going to be in the twister. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to have the twister. But we're going to be neutral in twister. Both our arms are going to be on the floor like this. And both of us are going to have the hip up. So the drill is going to be like this. I'm going to start the drill by stepping on the floor, bringing her hip down, connecting my hip. Now we're going to go back square. Now she's going to step on the mat and bring my hip down, my knee down. And now she's on my back. Then we're going to square up again. And we're going to keep adjusting the hip. So we're here. I step on the floor. I bring her knee down. She's going to step on the floor and bring my knee down. Yes. Now we're going to go back here. I'm going to step on the floor, bring her knee down. Notice, we both start with our leg up. We end with our hook lower on the leg. Now I can bring her knee down easier. Here, she does the same thing. Here. We square up. I'm here. I can even adjust my foot. I step on the floor. Knee down. Here, she adjusts. She puts my hip down. Here, I step on the floor. I put the hip down. Let's back up. Do it again. This is going to teach you how to win the hip fight here.
It really is. It's really
So we're here. We're both square. I'm going to step on the floor. I bring my knee down. I'm going to just focus on hammering her leg down and hip escaping in. Hip escaping out. Here. Now she's going to do the same thing. Here. Here, I step on the floor. I bring her knee down. Here. Here. So you see, once I hip escape, my leg comes down lower. And now I can bring her knee to the floor. This is going to teach you how to control her hips and how to bring her down. Okay? So let's work that. Alright guys, so now that you understand how to place the twister hook in, how to place the knee on the floor, we're going to go over now how to actually take the back. Okay? So we're going to be here, going to set up the twister hook any way I prefer. I go basic berimbolo, she falls. I get under her near hip. I lift, she straightens her leg. I'm going to keep doing it like this so you guys keep seeing these details. I hammer, I lock the twister hook. Okay? So now we just learned. Place her knee on the floor. Okay. So now, what do I have to do here? In our rules of berimbolo that you learn in the introduction, I have to connect my hips to her hips, and I have to bring my head above her head. Now, in berimbolo, there's going to be always two worlds. One world, I'm going to simply pull her to me, and the other world, she's going to stay up when I'm here, and I'm going to go to her. Exactly like before. But before I get to this point, my opponent is going to always usually make a grip on my collar and push away. Okay? So I'm controlling the near hip, she's pushing away here. How do I deal with this near collar grip? All I'm going to do is I'm going to make a grip on her arm like so. Keep the grip. I'm going to bring my shoulder above her wrist like this. Every time I bring my shoulder above her wrist, now look how her hand is compromised. Now, look how I can move my head away, straightening her arm. Now I'm going to go behind her head like this. upper body control, right? So I don't even care that she's holding this grip. If I could bend her arm like this, keep your grip, I could take her back, and look how her arm goes behind her back. You see, I'm not going to force to break this grip. I can if I want to, but I don't want to show you guys any way to force. I feel like I want to make her grip useless to her. So she's pushing me away. I'm going to establish upper body control. If I need to, I'll lift her hip up a little bit. So let's say that her body is down a little bit. All I have to do here is bring her hip up, and now look how my arm goes behind her body. Let's just move this way. Yeah. So let's say her shoulder is down a little bit. I bring her hip up just a little bit. I can even use my knee on her hip like this. Now I'm here. Now look at this. I can use my shoulder on her wrist, or I can bend her body like this. Now look how I'm going on her arm. I can attack a wrist lock here. I can do a lot of cool things here. But so she's holding here. All we do is bring her hip up. I go here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the grip if I want to on her arm. Now look how her body's up. I'm going to throw my hook in, underhook her arm, take the seat up. Go back here. No, just stay here. We're here. I step on the floor here. So she grabs my collar again. Her shoulder's on the floor right now, right? So all we have to do is bring our hip up a little bit. The second I bring her hip up a little bit, look how my arm goes behind her back. Look how my knee can stay on her back as well. Does this grip feel like it's helping you at all?
No.
I can break the grip. And if I want to, I can turn my wrist behind her grip as well. I did this in Worlds last year. So when I made the grip, I put my wrist like this on her arm, on my opponent's arm. And now I really have full control of her wrist because I can bend her arm if I want. I can pull her arm. I like to circle this. So when she's holding, hold my collar again. All I have to do is bring her hip up a little bit, get to the collar. I can use my shoulder. I can bring my wrist behind if I want. Now I can throw my hook in anywhere here. Throwing my hook in, pulling her to me, or she stays back, like stay on this side, so I can't pull you to me, so stays back. Yeah. Now I go to her, and I take the back. Okay. So we're here. I'm in the twister. She grabs my arm. She grabs the collar. I put her into the floors. So let's see the steps. Getting to the twister. Straighten your leg. Step 1. Bending her knee. Here. Step 2. Knee to the floor. Step 3. She's applying pressure here. Lift up this hip here. I can put my knee like this if I want. I get to the collar. Keep your grip stronger, please. I bring my shoulder above her wrist if I want to straighten. That's 1. 2. I can bend her wrist here. Bend her elbow. That's 2. 3. I'm here. I break the grip. I put my wrist on the other side of her wrist because now her grip is really compromised. Now I can pull and I can throw my hook in. There's zero things blocking her from keeping this hook out. So bend your knee like you're blocking the hook. Yeah. Look. I can put my hook in every time. If I cannot put my hook in, I go behind her leg like this. I pull her up. I get to the neck like this. Now I can throw my hook in. Okay, so we're here. I get the back of the collar. I can even lift to get to this part of her neck. Again, back to our upper body controlled climbing series. All of them work together. Okay, so we're even here. I have the twister hook. She's here. She's trying to grab my head. I can go behind her shoulder. Again, why do we go behind her shoulder? Because now I can make her post. Now I made her post, right? I go to the upper body. 1. 2, I want to hold her wrist instead. I get the grip here. Now I go to the back of her head. 2, I want to, so she pushes again. I break the grip. I bring her up. I get under her neck like this. 3, there's so many options for me to climb, but all I want you to do is get the knee to the floor. She frames my head. I bring this hip up a little bit. I go here. I get the upper body control. Now, if I really want to break the grip, I bring my shoulder, I straighten her arm. My wrist goes behind her arm like so. I throw my hook in here. 1, I can put my hook in like this. If I put my hook in like this, she's going to push my knee. I climb up to her neck. 2, now I can lock my leg. Take the back if I prefer like this. There's just so many options, but I'm just giving you different ways that you could finish this position. Just get her knee to the floor, and then we're going to hand plate this arm. And then we're going to use our right positioning to climb to her upper body, and then we can take the back. So again. So here, I try to lift. I try to go to this. I can't. I stack. She backs up a little bit. Now I apply twister. her leg straight. I bend, here. 1. Now she grabs my collar. I bring her hip up a little bit. Look how it straightens her shoulder even more when I bring her hip up. Now look, here. Boom. I turn my wrist behind the person's wrist like this. 1. I'm here. She pushes my collar. I'm here. I go here. Now I go behind her elbow. I get her arm lower on my chest. So she's pushing. I get her arm lower on my chest. Now I bend her elbow. I don't want to hurt her arm.
Is that an actual submission?
I finish a lot of people like this, actually. I go here. And then I even go for it to choke like this, or I tug the body and I can get you like in a wrist lock,
like
shoulder
a
lock. Sometimes their wrist gets bent there. Like, there's so many options. But yeah, so basically, I showed you guys it like this because now I want you to practice the hand fight sequence from there. But now you understand how to get the twist work in, how to stretch the person's knee to the floor, and then once you're there, what you're focused on to get your hooks in to take the back. Hey guys, now that I showed you guys how to get to the twist work and some finishes, I'm going to show you some more setups that I like to do. And this will teach you this will be a good drill for you to drill twist work. I personally do this all the time, and it makes it very difficult for the person to defend when I set up the twist work this way. Okay? So we're going to be here. I'm going to be here. Again, what did we learn about twist work? It's always the near hip when we do the twist work. So I get the grip here. I go under. I'm here. Now, for this, can we just change angles, please? Yeah, this way. Yeah. So for this one, what we're going to do is, I'm going to be up here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to lift the hip up, getting my elbow behind the hip like this back. But now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cup this far hip. I'm going to bring my hip down like this. I'm going to hold her shoulder like this. Now bring the hip down. You see, I have the upper body control, and I have the hip control here. So her body cannot go down. I have one side dominant already. You see how her knee's almost on the floor? Now I'm going to put the twist work in, and I'm going to take it back here. What I like about this grip is I can switch to the underhook on her shoulder, pulling her up, and keep it back. Here, here, it goes under, I catch. You see, I'm going to stack. She backs up a little bit, whatever. She backs up a little bit, and before she falls, I lifted her hip up enough that before she falls, come into me, I can keep her hip up, and I'm holding her shoulder. Now I bring my hips in. I go twist her. Yeah. Now I'm going to do far and middle hip, just so you see it's the same exact thing.
It doesn't matter, right? Because you're bringing it to the middle anyway. Right?
You just have to control that far hip, that near hip, to keep their body set. And all I'm doing is just catching her hip up in the air. So when she drops, I put my palm here to catch. You see? So I bring her body up to catch. Now try to drop your hip. Now, because her hip is up, I can get to the shoulder. And now look. I can move my body. And now I can put the hook in. I'm just using the staff just for a second. I'm timing it just for a second to elevate her hips to get this twister up. Do the same thing with the collar. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to learn the twister hook from other stack variations. So we're going to start with the ladder bolo because whenever we're doing any stack, the person's defense is going to be to put their weight on their legs, right? Like I just said, every time we do either pulling them up, they put their weight on their shoulders. Every time you put their weight on their weight. Every time you pull them up, they put their weight on their shoulders because then you can stack them. Every time you go to stack them, they put their weight on their legs so you can pull them up. So now we're going to do the ladder bolo, attempting to stack my opponent. So what are they going to do? They're going to put their weight on their legs. When they put their weight on their legs, we're going to take advantage of that and utilize the middle ground, which is the twister.
In the last move we did, the weight was on my shoulders. That's why.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm catching your weight on the shoulders. I get your weight on the shoulders just for a second to catch it. When you put your weight on your legs, now I can go under you and take the back.
Okay.
So we're here. I go under. Now I'm here. Remember what I said about ladder bolo. The angle of the ladder bolo, I can't stack because for me to stack the person, I need her butt on my chest that I can bring her up. She's on this weird angle on the side, right? So what am I going to do now? I can't stack her, so I'm going to go to the ladder bolo. I grab the far leg. I put my foot on her knee. Now, look how I'm able to get my chest under her leg. I'm able to bring her body up. But now I'm going to feel that her legs are coming back. She's putting weight on her hip to come back like this. You see? Her legs are becoming heavy. She's backing up a little bit, and she's putting weight on her legs heavy. So what does that mean? That means I'm trying to stack. She's defending by putting her legs heavy. That means that we can attack the twister because it's the middle ground. So we're here. I get her to go up. She starts backing up a little bit. All I'm going to do is change it. This way. Yeah. All I'm going to do here. I'm here. All I'm going to do here. I feel that her hips are coming back heavy. I'm not going to be able to keep her stacked. I'm going to catch this hip. Again, just like the other drill we just did. I'm going to catch this hip. I'm going to keep it up. Now I'm going to go to the shoulder, like so. Now bring your body back. Notice, I'm right under her hip like this. Right when I put my hand like this, it's impossible for her to come back.
My knee is already to the ground.
Her knee is already to the ground, you see. Now I get to the shoulder here, just like the drill I just did before. And I can apply the twister, and I take the back. Have the shoulder grip, what does that mean? I can get I can go under her arm like this, and I can take the back. These positions become so much cooler when you understand the mechanics of them with the weight and like how you put the body up and then you go to the other way. It's so cool. So we're here. I'm in this angle. What does that mean? This is ladder bolo, double leg bolo family. Because
and my legs are heavy, right?
Because the angle. If your leg was here, I could stack you and go to our stack stuff. But because your angle is here, you made your hip where I'm not under your hip with my shoulder. Mm-hmm. Now I'm in ladder bolo, double leg bolo family. Here and here. It's just the rules of like your body positioning. Like I'm gonna say, like in the introduction with the angles of the hips, how important the angle of the hip is with me determining what I'm going to do. So she's in this angle. So now I'm gonna go ladder bolo. I'm gonna lift her hip up. I'm gonna feel she's backing up. I'm not gonna be able to keep her weight on her shoulders because now she's putting her weight on her legs. All I'm going to do is catch her hip, straight arm my arm. Now I'm going to go here. Come back. Now I bring my hip in. Twist her hook. Again. This way. Yeah. She just falls right in my lap when she brings her legs down now.
So you're kind of letting me just...
I'm letting you fall.
Yeah,
I'm using your weight against you.
I'm trying to fall, but you're letting...
I know you're going to fall. So then I bait you to fall right into the twister.
Okay.
Again, you see how I keep switching grips? Just so you see that you can do it with all the grips.
What grip is your favorite one to do?
I like near hip, but they all work with every grip. So we just learned the lateral bolo from the alternative angle when I'm doing the berimbolo to try to stack. Now what we're going to learn is double leg bolo to twist work as well. So again, everything in berimbolo is about angles. And this angle is perfect for lateral bolo and double leg bolo. It's because I'm not under her hip. Her hip is not on top of my shoulder, so I can't stack her that way. So I alternatively stack her by using my hook in the side or using my other leg. But we're always attacking that back leg when we get into this alternative angle. Okay? So let's get into it. I'm going to be here. And that's why it's so important you guys watch the other stuff before this. And you get the fundamentals of how to do the lateral bolo and double leg bolo. And then you'll understand this so much better how to set this up. Okay? They all chain and build together. That's why I'm teaching exactly like this. I think this is the best way for you guys to learn. Okay? So we're going to go under. Again, I'm in this alternative angle. I want to stack her. So what does that mean? That means it's all near hip family. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to put my foot here. I'm going to feel like I can't do the lateral bolo this time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my other leg over, getting my heel on top of this leg. Again, locking my legs now. Never exceeding my knee line this way, of course. Always keeping my knee here. I'm going to lock my legs. I'm going to push her hip up here. I'm going to attempt to put her knees to the floor. But I'm going to feel like she's going to be coming back like this. I'm not going to be able to keep her knees on the floor. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get my hand behind her hip like this to create this wall that she can't come back with her hips forward. Now come back. Now, because I did this, I get to the shoulder, and again, the same exact setup. I bring my hip in, I attack the twister hook. The same exact mechanics as the position before. Go under, near hip. Let me go middle grip this time. Yeah. Okay, now she's here. Her body's on top of my arm, right? But for me to stack her, she would need to be on my shoulder here. Now I can stack her. But because her body's on this angle, now I can attack the double leg bolo. I bring her hip up. I bring my hand right to the hip like this. Come back. You see how she can't come back? Now I grab the shoulder here. Now I attack the twister.
He's there again with the last move.
What happened?
And he's already on the floor.
Yep. And I beat you to come back because I want to get to the twister. So I push you that way, then you come back, twister.
I think I'm winning.
Here. And this arm is on her shoulder like this. So I'm straightening her shoulder and her hip like this. You see how it requires no strength is if I just put my hands like this, using my palms. Not my fingers, my palms. So you try to come back. Her body's so pinned now. And now I take it back.